Well, apparently, all of the evidence that I have given y'all to most certainly and most definitely say that Charlie Kirk did criticize Israel, including the text messages that have been confirmed to be real by Turning Point USA themselves, the interviews Charlie Kirk had with people like Megyn Kelly, which I will show you that clip in just a second, where he literally criticizes Israel on those interviews. I will show you again those in just a second. That is not enough evidence to give to y'all to prove and to most definitely say that Charlie Kirk criticized Israel. So what other evidence do I need to give to y'all to prove to y'all that Charlie Kirk criticized Israel? I'm Michael Walquist. You're watching the Common Sense Report. So, as y'all probably know, I have been documenting a lot of the stuff going on in the past weeks, basically with what has happened to Charlie Kirk. I have been going over that and covering a lot of stuff about that. I've posted videos about how Charlie Kirk criticized Israel towards the end of his life, but there have been people in the comments, which I will put one of the comments that I got yesterday on the screen right here, basically saying that we can't say for sure that Charlie Kirk criticized Israel, but we can say for sure that Charlie Kirk criticized Israel based on the confirmed to be real text messages that I put in a video a couple days ago, and the interviews that Charlie Kirk had with other politicians like Megyn Kelly, where he literally criticizes Israel on her show, which I will show you that clip in just a second. Like, what other evidence do I need to give to you to say that Charlie Kirk criticized Israel? Because all the evidence that I have given to you has been confirmed to be real, and that's all real evidence. So, like, are you at this point denying the fact that there is real evidence sitting in front of your face? Because I've shown you the real evidence. I've shown you all the evidence that we have to say that Charlie Kirk criticized Israel, but that still isn't enough for y'all. Like, what else do I need to give to you? Because at this point, you're just openly denying the facts which are sitting right in front of you. So I'm going to go ahead and play a clip of Charlie Kirk on the Megyn Kelly show, literally in his own words, criticizing the wrongdoings of Israel.
On me too, you must be anti-Semitic. What the hell? That's such bull. The same people who say you can criticize Israel, that's fine, we won't call you anti-Semitic if you criticize Israel, now turn around immediately and say you're anti-Semitic for even raising that. I completely reject that. And I raise this as a pushback against my friends on that particular strain of the aisle to watch it, because you don't want to alienate people who are openly your friends by going nuts in your crackdowns on mild pushback on anything related to Israel. Now you take it.
I'm so glad you brought this up, and I would second that. Megan, I think I have a bulletproof resume showing my defense of Israel, both on campus, on social media, to great, let's just say mockery and scorn at times, because I believe it, right? I believe in the scriptural land rights given to Israel. I believe in fulfillment of prophecy. And again, I'm not a theologian, but I'm a Christian. My life was changed in Israel. The spiritual energy is so amazing there. I want them to win. I've said that repeatedly.
Same.
And however, Megan, you're hitting on something very potent and important. Now, let me first say, I don't want to judge an entire group, because there's been many people in the pro-Israel world that have been very sweet, very kind, very nuanced, very Charlie, you were with us. You don't have to agree all the time. However, and I will say this, the behavior by a lot, both privately and publicly, are pushing people like you and me away. Not like we're going to be pro-Hamas, not like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite. I am learning biblical Hebrew and writing a book on the Shabbat. I honor the Shabbat, literally the Jewish Sabbath. I visit Israel and fight for it. And there's another article out in the Times of Israel today. I could read it on air. I was just reading before I got on. Charlie, what are you doing? Like, what am I doing? I'm sorry. Like, let's just take a step back here. Like, I'm an American citizen. Yes, I want Israel to win. Yes, I'm a Christian. But like, some of the mess, and you've seen how I've been treated, Megan, by some, not all, by some.
No, it's very irritating.
It's
been
almost
so
as if
unfair. They were coming after you after Turning Point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith is allowed to criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was overrepresented.
Though. No, you're not allowed to. It's even worse than that. Again, I just want to repeat for the 5th time. I love Israel. I want Israel to win. But my moral character is now being put into question, Megan. Not my decisions. Not like, hey, are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no, I am a bad person if I do this. And I could go, you saw it, Megan. It was trending on Twitter, thousands of tweets.
Well, if that video is not compelling to you in any kind of way, then I don't know what is, because it clearly shows Charlie, in his own words, criticizing the hate that he has been getting for criticizing Israel in his own words. Like, is that not evidence to y'all? Like, is that not proof that he did criticize Israel? Because if that's not proof, then I don't know what else to give to you. Because he clearly criticized Israel. There's interviews, there's videos that are literally being taken off the internet, probably by the FBI, because they don't want us to know the truth. That's typical for the FBI, though. But there is so much evidence that has been proved to be real. So again, like I just said, you're just openly denying the evidence which is sitting right in front of your face. So, to the people that still don't believe that Charlie criticized Israel and still don't believe that that is factual evidence to say that Charlie criticized Israel, then please let me know what I need to research and what I need to find myself to prove that Charlie criticized Israel. I know that that evidence is real. I know that that is all the proof I need to give to people to say that Charlie Kirk most definitely did criticize Israel, but apparently that's not enough for a lot of the viewers watching my videos. So if you're going to make a claim and say that that's not factual evidence, then please tell me what I can do to find evidence that will be factual, or that is factual in your mind, to say that Charlie Kirk criticized Israel. Okay, so now that we got all that out of the way, let's move on to the next segment of today's episode, which is going to be about Pam Bondi, Attorney General, completely destroying a senator for openly lying and questioning her about deploying National Guard. And then we're going to take a look about RFK, again, completely destroying a senator, Democratic senator, for lying about the United States health condition during Joe Biden's term. So go ahead and take a listen to Pam Bondi's very delightful response to a Democratic senator after claiming that she should not have deployed National Guard to Chicago, Illinois.
Were you consulted by the White House before they deployed National Guard troops to cities in the United States?
I am not going to discuss any internal conversations with the White House.
You won't even say whether you talked to the White House about this?
I am not going to discuss any internal conversations with the White House with you, Ranking Member.
I noticed that. What's the secret? Why do you want to keep this secret? The American people don't know the rationale behind the deployment of National Guard troops in my state. The word is, and I think it's been confirmed by the White House, they are going to transfer Texas National Guard units to the state of Illinois. What's the rationale for that?
Yeah, Chairman, as you shut down the government, you voted to shut down the government, and you're sitting here, our law enforcement officers aren't being paid. They're out there working to protect you. I wish you loved Chicago as much as you hate President Trump. And currently, the National Guard are on the way to Chicago. If you're not going to protect your citizens, President Trump will.
I've been on this committee for more than 20 years. That's the kind of testimony you expect from this administration. A simple question as to whether or not they had a legal rationale for deploying National Guard troops becomes grounds for a personal attack. I think it's a legitimate question. It's my responsibility. She refuses to answer as to whether she had any conversation with the White House about deploying national troops to my state. That's an indication, I'm afraid, where we are politically in this place.
She said that very, very well. I don't agree with everything that Pam Bondi has done. I'm not a huge fan of how she treated the Epstein situation. I'm not a huge fan of her saying that she wants to silence hate speech either. but that reply that she had for that Democratic senator was very delightful to watch. She does not legally have to provide the information that that Democratic senator wanted her to provide. He has the right to ask her that question, but she also has the right to not answer that question. She does not have to disclose that kind of information. The President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, has the right to deploy National Guard anywhere he wants in the United States of America. So Pam Bondi probably got very well permission from President Trump to deploy National Guard to Chicago, Illinois, because Trump has made it very clear that he is sick and tired of the violence in Chicago. Chicago has higher crime rates than New York City, and that says a lot considering how large New York City is. Chicago's mayor literally encourages people to cause violence in his own city just to prove a point to the Trump administration, which is crazy. So of course the Trump administration is going to want to deploy National Guard. Chicago's mayor literally encouraged people to raid a mall in Chicago to put some crazy point across to the Trump administration, which only makes the Trump administration want to deploy even more National Guard. So now let's move on to RFK, again, completely destroying a Democratic senator. Take a look.
And my last comment is, I hope that you will tell the American people how many preventable child deaths are an acceptable sacrifice for enacting an agenda that I think is fundamentally cruel and defies common sense. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do I get a reply? Or, Senator, you've sat in that chair for how long? 20, 25 years, while the chronic disease in our children went up to 76%. And you said nothing. You never asked the question why it's happening. Why is this happening? Today, for the first time in 20 years, we learned that infant mortality has increased in our country. It's not because I came in here. It's because of what happened during the Biden administration that we're going to end.
The Biden administration literally forced vaccines upon people's bodies, even if they did not want to have vaccines injected into their system. The Biden administration forced hospitals, schools, workplaces to force people to be vaccinated, or else they could not go to work, to school, or to the hospital if they needed to get something done. Even if it were an emergency, they had to be vaccinated. That is not constitutional. People should have the right to their own body, just like they complain about women having the right to their own body, even though the baby in the womb of the woman is not their body. They want women to have the right to their own body, so why shouldn't we have the right to choose whether we want a vaccine to be injected into our body? It's going to be forever in our system, therefore that should be our choice, not the government's choice. Thank you so much for joining today's episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. Make sure to stay tuned as I am constantly calling out the lies and hypocrisy from the left. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as it would really help me grow my YouTube channel, as I really want to be able to reach more and more people every single day and be able to continue Charlie Kirk's legacy.